LinkedIn presents.
Happy Wednesday, friends. I'm Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily, quick masterclasses from the best new books written and read by the authors themselves. Don't forget to hit follow in your podcast player and sign up for our free newsletter using the link in the episode notes. Now, I don't know if you've been tracking the renewed interest in psychedelics like psilocybin, LSD, and related compounds. Despite their often shaky legal status, these drugs have long been used for mind expansion, spiritual growth, or good old-fashioned fun. But in recent years, researchers have been exploring their use for things like health and performance, often in very small amounts known as microdoses. At the forefront of this movement is James Fadiman, who's widely recognized as the father of modern microdosing. His pioneering research and protocols have shaped the way people around the world explore the benefits of tiny, sub-perceptual doses of psychedelics. Now, along with co-author Jordan Gruber, he's put together a guide for how you can safely and effectively experiment with microdoses to benefit your sleep, sex, creativity, and more. The book is called Microdosing for Health, Healing, and Enhanced Performance. And James and Jordan will join us to summarize their research right after this quick break.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jordan Gruber, co-author with Jim Fadiman of Microdosing for Health, Healing, and Enhanced Performance. Starting about a decade ago, an enormous desire to find out more about microdosing had been building everywhere. There were 3 million Google searches for microdosing in 2023 alone. Reports have come in from what we like to call participatory citizen scientists from 81 countries, and there has been widespread growth of trainings, teachings, coaching, and research. Having already been close friends with Jim for a couple of decades, when he first started looking into microdosing, I was already quite aware of its viral spread and rising popularity, and of course, jumped at the chance to help him write a book about this important topic.
Hi, I'm Jim Fadiman, and at this point, I'm the most credible and well-known international microdose researcher. Indeed, I'm known as the father of modern microdosing, as I developed the first protocols and came up with a range of safe doses and schedules to ensure safety, prevent tolerance, and maximize the likelihood of effective results. Along with Jordan, who's knowledgeable in his own right, and had already partnered with me in a prior book, we had access to more information, were more in touch with more of the researchers, and had access to more individual reports than anyone else. As a result, we felt our work would gain considerable attention and have a substantial chance of being seen as credible and making a difference. We also have no special theory to prove or disprove, just a commitment to making the best information available to the ever-growing number of people looking to figure out whether responsible microdosing just might be of value in their own lives.
As we began putting together a book, we found out that what people didn't know was often more important than what they did know. For example, far too many people thought microdosing was just a small version of a high dose, but in fact, it's totally different. It's important to understand that pretty much everything in all of the literature about high doses of psychedelics simply doesn't apply to microdosing at all. With microdosing, you're typically taking in 1/10 to 1/20 of a full recreational dose of a classic psychedelic, usually psilocybin-containing mushrooms or LSD. This low of a dose is called a subthreshold dose, which means you will be experiencing far below the level of what typically goes on when someone has taken a full recreational dose or more. So you don't experience wild visual imagery, and there are no major or sudden changes in how you're thinking or feeling. You have no qualms about whatever might arise in your day, and typically no one else will even know that you've taken something. And you may even find that you yourself have forgotten that you've taken something until you realize how well your day went. Taking this kind of a low dose, along with using a conservative protocol or schedule that includes regularly taking time off, makes the point that in many ways a microdose of something compared to a macrodose is a completely different substance. Moreover, it benefits normal people, improving their skills and capacities, and it alleviates much of the suffering of a variety of mental illnesses, and to almost everyone's surprise, it has led to improvements in a range of physical conditions, including migraines, long COVID, and others. And while we know that we don't know exactly how it works to provide benefits in so many different ways, we do know it improves inflammation and neuroplasticity and returns people to a healthier sense of self. Often people just feel better. We also found out that people didn't have a good sense of why it's important to keep the dose quite low, skip days between taking doses, and then take time off. There was also a lack of knowledge about what substances were clearly inappropriate for microdosing. So we've worked hard to think through this issue and how to best present our conclusions.
As we began the actual writing, we felt it was important to detail as much of what we'd already learned as possible, as soon and as fully as we could. We learned that most of the information and research available weren't answering the questions we were being asked from around the world, and most of the existing research was hard to find and quite technical. We found people were already experimenting and reporting their results, even though they weren't able to see the larger picture. We were startled at how many people wanted to learn and share the information. There are over 275,000 people on Reddit's microdosing subreddit alone, but they had no guideposts to distinguish the truth, the quality, or the usefulness of the information they had access to. Most people, as is usually the case, only knew about their own part of an emerging mosaic. We found that the larger picture included information on an A to Z of over 35 different mental and physical medical conditions. Just reading down from A to E, we include information from ADHD, anorexia, anxiety, asthma relief, and autism. Now, autism meaning Asperger's high-functioning autism and the severe autism in children. We include binge eating, bipolar disorder, body weight, cannabis reduction or quitting, cerebral palsy, cluster headaches, red and green color blindness, the common cold, depression, diseases, eczema and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and epilepsy. That's just A to E. We also found the bigger picture for microdosing included trainings in South America, Europe, and in the U.S., the growth of microdose coaching, and the use and misuse of various substances at right or wrong doses or schedules. Additionally, we realized that the conventional research was lagging behind what was known from the thousands of reports we'd received and that had been posted online about individual health conditions. Microdosing had not yet been described well enough by science, yet there were thousands of reports from participant citizen sciences that began filling in the larger picture. For example, there was no research about the effects of microdosing on late pregnancies, birth, and breastfeeding. Yet we were able to make use of and spend a good 10 pages in the book reporting on the very first survey ever, which included hundreds of women's reports.
The last insight we'll share with you is that we realized that microdosing had been used for thousands of years in many ways, just not for mental and physical healing. Not only then are we perhaps just at the very beginning of the acceptance of microdosing throughout conventional medicine, but also healthy people are using it to improve many areas of functioning in their lives, like sleep, sex, sports, diet, writing, music and coding, accelerated learning, and better grades, to name just a few. Additionally, people tend to feel better about themselves and other people and to naturally and easily make better decisions about different areas of their lives.
We just want to thank you for listening to some of our motivations and what we've learned from writing this book. What we've been able to do is clarify for almost everyone that these are not pharmaceuticals. They are not single symptom medications. They're much closer to vitamins, which is why they affect the whole body and a whole host of different systems in different ways. This is a kind of fundamental shift from what we know about the effects of higher doses of psychedelics.
Also, it's important to see that the two big categories of benefits are quite different. Improving physical and mental health conditions is of interest to almost everyone, but so are areas of performance, wellness, and flow. Again, from coding and math to writing and art and sports, and anything else that you can imagine, really. We believe we will see the enthusiastic adoption of microdosing by practitioners of all sorts of creative and physical endeavors as we move forward into the future.
Thank you, James and Jordan. Okay, everyone, you can get a copy of Microdosing for Health, Healing, and Enhanced Performance wherever you get your books. That's our show for the day. If you got something out of it, please leave us a rating or review in your podcast player so others can find it too. And go to nextbigideaclub.com to find out about our hardback subscription club. That's where we send you the best new nonfiction books as selected by our curators Malcolm Gladwell, Adam Grant, Susan Cain, and Daniel Pink. Check it out at nextbigideaclub.com. I'm Michael Kovnat. See you tomorrow.